Hello, everybody. This is Jeffrey Daniel here coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. And actually coming in unexpectedly sooner than I would have normally have, waited until I come back with something else for you guys. But today is not a commentary, as I like to disseminate, certain information for us, as for those of you who have been following me. And I'm trying to compose myself as best as possible. Something has happened today, January 26, 2023, on that Gregorian calendar. We had to say goodbye to our brother, Chuck Johnson, who made his transition this morning. California time around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 something in the morning. His wife, Carolyn, called me, and she did a video call as well. So I had a chance to say goodbye to Chuck. A lot of you may know him. Chuck Johnson, my God, where can I begin? He was Don Cornelius's right-hand man throughout Soul Train. He was also Dick Griffey's right-hand man throughout the Solar Records. He also had an office in the Solar Record Tower. He and Dick Griffey started off when Dick Griffey was running a nightclub called Guys and Dolls, and Chuck was like clicking the lights while the Temptations and Aretha Franklin and those people were performing on the stage. He goes that far back with these guys. And all of the Soul Train dancers will know who Chuck Johnson is, because those of you who just watch Soul Train on television, when you see the dancers dancing on those platforms and on the risers, as they're called, it was Chuck who was, allocating, okay, you guys can go there. Okay, Jeffrey, you and Jody go up there. Or go Tyrone and Sharon go up there. And, Cleveland Moses, you come down there. When it was time to do the Soul Train line, also Chuck helped to arrange some of the dancers coming up and down the line. Don Cornelius was untouchable. You don't, unapproachable, I should say. You don't approach Don Cornelius. He's standing over there. Chuck was the liaison between Don Cornelius and the dancers. Now let's go to Solar Records, because Chuck worked very closely with Lakeside in the earlier days, of course with Shalimar. In fact, there's a picture on Shalimar's Shalimar Disco Garden album. It's the first album that Leon Silvers produced for us, and I wrote the title track, Shalimar Disco Gardens. That's the song that I wrote. On the back of it, there's a picture of Don Cornelius, Dick Griffey, and Chuck Johnson in the studio with us, Gerald Brown, Jody Watley, and myself, and Leon Silvers behind the mixing board. So if any of you have that album, go back and look at it, and you'll see Chuck. It's on the back of it or the inside, but his photo was there as well. But it goes back deeper, you guys. When Tyrone Proctor first took me to the Soul Train TV studios, KTTV, Channel 11 in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, we had to go past Chuck Johnson, because Chuck would stand there with his arms folded, and I didn't know who he was, but Tyrone knew who he was. He knew who Tyrone was, and it was Chuck who was letting the dancers through the gate and into the studio. And Tyrone goes, "Chuck, this is my little brother Jeffrey Daniel. He just came back from Michigan. Can you let him in?" And Chuck goes, "All right, Tyrone, go on in, go on in." So then the next time I went up to the taping, and I was there before Tyrone. And sure enough, there was Chuck with his arms folded, and all these dancers are over there going, "Chuck, Chuck, Chuck, Chuck." And I'm in the crowd, "Chuck, Chuck." And Chuck remembered me, goes, "Come on in." And this went on for a few tapings, and it went on for a while until they finally came and said, and it was Chuck who came and said, "Yo, Jeffrey, come here. Don Cornelius said he'd like for you to be a regular on the show." At that moment, it was the biggest moment in my life that I was an official Soul Train dancer. So it was Chuck Johnson, as well as Tyrone Proctor, who's responsible for me getting onto the Soul Train television show. Now, it gets better. I was working out of the Soul Train office, and it was Chuck paying me out of his pocket, not Don Cornelius. It wasn't an official job with a check. I was taking their cars to the car wash. Don Cornelius's Rolls Royce, Dick Griffey's Mercedes. Chuck Johnson had a Fiat Spider. It was a 2-seater car. I was getting them lunch, going out and get their lunch, buying the trade magazine, running errands for them, and Chuck was literally paying me out of, "Come here, Jeff, $7 there, maybe the next time. Okay, $20. Chuck took me under his wing, and I was aspiring to be like him because he had such a personality. He was so engaging. And to come to find out, coincidentally, his birthday is August 24th, as well as my birthday is August 24th, as well as my daughter's birthday is August 24th. And so we had that much in common, and we just bonded like that. And Chuck took me everywhere. I remember when he took me to Donna Summers' house in Beverly Hills, but she was out of town. She wasn't there. It was his ex-wife who was babysitting Donna Summers' house for her, and he had to go up there and get some things for her. And I'm in Donna Summers' house. Wow. But she was out of town. She wasn't there. So she never knew this, okay? She wouldn't have known anyway. I was just Jeffrey dancing on Soul Train. It was before Shalimar anyway. And so, I mean, this guy had the most amazing one-liners, and you would just be busting your stitches. It's like, Chuck, I was like an assistant dance coordinator under Chuck because I would go to Chuck and help get people on the show too and get people up on the risers. So people come, Jeffy, I want to dance on the riser. I want to come down the line. Ask Chuck. And I'd be like, Chuck, my friend just came from out of town and like he wants to come down the Soul Train line or he wants to dance on top of the riser. That's what I said, where there's, the picture of the train, painting of the train. And I said, Chuck, can he just get one shot to dance on top of the riser? And Chuck goes, Jeff. He used to call me Jeff, who you talking about? And I go, see the guy over there with the so-and-so? He goes, Jeff, I wouldn't let that guy dance under the train. These are the kind of one-liners that Chuck would come up with. He would have me dying all the time. And I just tried to remember everything. And eventually I made him my manager. So when I did that Skinny Boy album, and I came back to America after I stayed overseas for a while, and after I finished doing Michael's Bad and Smooth Criminal videos, it was Chuck that was managing me at the time. And he's in the Skinny Boy video as well. At the beginning, when everyone's coming into the studio, Chuck is in that scene as well. And you can hear me call his name, Chuck, when I jump out of that truck. I go, Chuck, like that. I mean, we were very, very close. We were like family. As I was speaking to his wife and telling her that, like, it's funny because sometimes family, your blood family, don't even behave like family members. And sometimes it's people who aren't even your blood family members that are even closer to you than your real family. And Chuck was honestly one of those people for me. Other than the fact that I was the one who played Cupid to bring Carolyn Vajiga and Chuck Johnson together. And they've been married over 30-something years. And they have 3 beautiful children. I mean, beautiful children. And so I want us all to say a prayer for Chuck Johnson, a person who was so instrumental in helping me achieve my dream. Because if Chuck hadn't let me into Soul Train, if he had told Tyrone, no, or if I would have been Chuck, and he just would have ignored me, I don't know where my life would be right now. I don't know where it would have been. So I thank Chuck with all my heart and soul. I had a chance to say goodbye to him a week before he went into the hospital and became ill. That we often did video calls on through Facebook. And we were just joking, Carolyn, Chuck, myself, my daughter was in there. We were all there online just joking with each other. They were saying hi to her. She was laughing and we were just having the best time. And then like about a few days after that, that's when he fell ill and went into the hospital. And he had been asleep since then until this morning. He gave up the fight and he went on to move on. And here I am, I'm trying to teach people about the transition and what it really is, about how we are really light inside of this body and that we don't die, we just transcend, we just leave the body behind. And we know that, I know this, but still, when you lose somebody that means this much to you and that's close to you, it hits home, And I guess it's all of the, retrospect visions I have of what happened in the past and how things came along and all the good times we had, the crazy times we had. He flew to Japan with me in '89, and that's when I was choreographing for a TV show for Tokyo Television called Mystery Dance, and Chuck flew over to Japan with me, his first time over in Japan. We had a lot of water under our bridge, and I'm so glad that Carolyn anchored him and gave him a family and gave him roots to sink in for that last 30-something years of his life. She made it 30-something wonderful years for Chuck Johnson. So I thank you, my sister Carolyn. And I'm so glad that I was able to bring those two together. And they've always been family to me. I love them very much. If you go online, you can see conversations with Chuck, where Chuck has been bringing the Soul Train dancers together and doing interviews and doing different dances. Even Pat Davis came. I saw Gerald Brown doing it, Grady Harrell. I think Howard Hewitt did one too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if Jody did one or not. I'm not sure because I haven't seen everything, but maybe she did. I'm not sure. But anyway, for those of you who don't know him personally, when you're watching Soul Train and when you're listening to the artists of Solar and Soul Train, Chuck Johnson is an integral part of all of that. He was a solid rock. When we couldn't relate with Dick Griffey, when I left Shalimar and moved over to London, when I left the group, I'm the one who left Shalimar. Now I know people are putting different spins on the story and this and that and that. I'm the one who left Shalimar, okay? Because I was in London doing a movie with Paul McCartney. Give my regard to Broad Street. I was filming the movie and I stayed for a month. Howard and Jody were having these meetings and things didn't go right and I just never came back. I didn't just leave Shalimar, I left America. I just stayed in London, okay? So that's what happened with that. Dick Griffey was trying to get a hold of me. They were trying to get me back into the group, but the only person I would talk to was Chuck. I would only take his calls. In fact, he's the only one I gave my number to in London. And, and when he heard me express my reasons for not wanting to be in Shalimar anymore, and my reasons for not even wanting to speak to Dick Griffey, Chuck said, you know what, Jeffrey? Do your thing. Go ahead and do your thing. He was supposed to be speaking to me on behalf of Dick Griffey and Solar Records, but he knew things weren't right, and he knew me, and he knew my heart and my soul. He said, Jeffrey, you know what? Go ahead and do your thing. He was looking out for me, not the record company. He was looking out for me, as brothers would do, So I don't want to make this too long. I want to make this as succinct as possible, but I want you all to give your prayers to our Creator, to our ancestors, to the universe, and just take this time to reflect on your loved ones that are in your life and the people that mean so much to you. I want you to pray for Carolyn and the Johnson family and Chuck's other children that he had. I want you to pray for all the members of the Johnson family. I send a prayer out to all of the Soul Train dancers, all of the people from Soul Train and Solar Records who knew Chuck and was affiliated with Chuck. I just remember him always calling Carolyn Griffey Beep. That was her nickname they gave her. I'd never heard Chuck call her Carolyn. He always called her Beep. That was Carolyn Griffey's nickname, So, I mean, I can go on and on about the memories and all this, and I know a lot of people have their own memories. If you guys would like to come online and share your memories of with Chuck Johnson, feel free to do so. I'm talking to Carolyn, and we're going to try to arrange something. We don't know what we want to do. I'm leaving it up to her how she wants to handle it. If we want to eventually do a memorial, so we could bring all the people together, so we can give him a good goodbye and a send-off or something. If it's later, if it's going to be August 24th, that special day, or if it's going to be sooner, we don't know yet. So I don't want to, speculate anything. I'm leaving. Carolyn is now dealing with her loss. Chuck was her soulmate. They were buddies, partners, bosom buddy, whatever you want to call it. How can you describe it? They did everything together. They danced together. They laughed together. They walked in a park together. You dream of having a soulmate in your life like that. They were just the ideal marriage couple, as unlikely as it seemed, but it just worked perfectly for them, So as Grace Jones used to say, I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you. You know what I mean? And they were perfect for each other against all odds. And so she's still grieving. I mean, it just happened today, this morning, LA time at 4 a.m. It was about 1 p.m. here in Nigeria. And she called me and we were on a video call for about an hour or so with each other. And I got to see his body. She panned over and I told her to kiss him on the forehead and say goodbye to him for me. And it doesn't get any easier, you guys. The more we live, we're going to be saying goodbye to more people. And I had to say goodbye to my brother, Tyrone Proctor. I had to say goodbye to Shabadoo. I had to say goodbye to Don Campbell. I mean, come on, the list is going on and on and on. I lost my biological father last year, February. And I didn't come out, I didn't say anything about it, but I lost my biological father last year in February. I'd only met him 3 times in my life. And after that, I lost a younger brother who I'd never met, Kenneth Daniel, a few months ago. And we were planning on getting together and meeting. In fact, I was trying to get together to have a August 24th party with Jadia, myself, and Chuck eventually, but we'll do it. Chuck will be there in spirit. He'll be there in heart. Did guys, it's not the end. Death is not the end. Actually, it's the beginning of a much bigger episode. So, but I know it's the missing of the physical person that we miss the most, that has been there with us. So, okay, let me stop ranting. Let's all say a prayer for Chuck Johnson, and I want to say a prayer for any of you who've lost anyone. Say a prayer for the Johnson family, that Carolyn will have strength to endure this with the loss of the closest person to her other than her children. And I wish you all the best. And God bless Chuck. I mean, he just meant so much to me. He meant so much to me. I just can't thank him enough for what he's done for my life and my career. I cannot thank him enough. So I thank you, Chuck. God bless you. And God bless you all. Thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.